can tell I've been on the road a lot because I'm wearing the same shirts in a lot of these videos, but I did make some cool changes to our Japanese house track. I'm still not happy with the vocal chop in the second drop. I tried a new attempt at that today and didn't get satisfied with that, but did make a few other changes that I really like and I'm excited about. First thing, in this cool down section here, as we kind of go through these chords, it goes 4, then 1, 6, then 2, which is kind of more like a 5, 6, 4 to 1, and then it does that again, but instead of going 5, 6, 4, 1, it goes 6, 5, and that 6 really hits emotionally here. I think if you listen to this. And then that last 5 there is even more of like, it's got a very 1, 6, 4 energy to it, like a kind of a 1 chord in second inversion. And 1, 6, 4 to me is like a very like melancholy chord. It's like it's the 1 chord, but in as close to being the 5 chord as possible. So like you're as far away from home as possible while also actually being at home. It's kind of that sound of like you're in your hometown, but it's all a little bit different, and so it's all familiar, but it's all different, and it's all like sad but happy at the same time. I don't know. It's a really powerful chord there, and I wanted some more emotion underneath it for this section, which is just such a kind of like different section here. And I don't know if I'm going to leave this in exactly this iteration. I'm not quite sure what to change about them, but I've added some strings, and I think that the strings here in this section actually work here. I'm gonna leave them, turn them up just a little bit so you hear them a little bit more prominently. But yeah, tell me what you think about this. I think that works pretty well there. There's a few spots where it's maybe too loud and I need to kind of like pull it down a little bit. The problem with strings is they're just such a all-encompassing, comprehensive sound, and I want them to sound like strings, but like when you like look at this in the span, it's like there's this whole huge section of the spectrum there is taken up. It's beautiful, but it's hard to, how do you fit anything really cleanly in there, right? Because each one of those partials is important to that sound. And I did, in the area where I built this sound, I have I do have a kind of gentle EQ taking out low end there. We already have a bass there that's holding down the sub. We don't need the strings doing that there, but there's so much high detail in the synths and in the voices that like this is a spot where I think a dynamic EQ that can kind of like carve out the voices out of this specific instrument, I think could be really effective. So something like a Pro Fab filter could be really, or Pro Q Fab filter could be really effective. The other thing that was really fun in this section was, again, using Latch, which I'm slowly discovering is just such a great tool. When I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to like, I'll play through things, just like be playing through it, and I'll just like turn a knob and be like, man, it'd be super cool if I could get the knob to do this. And then previously I would have to go into Read and like draw in what I wanted, and it would just never be quite the same. Now you just literally turn on Latch, hit play, and then just turn the knob the way you were just turning it just a second ago, and boom, it just does it. So this was me just playing in the dynamics of the dynamics here in Contact, which is just kind of like how loud the strings are, to have them swell, which is what gives them kind of these shapes here. And then I also have it EQ out at the end, have a low cut come up and sweep through the frequencies to help us transition back to the bass. Make space for that bass that is swelling in here, because we do want to kind of go back to having more of a housey sound. And I've debated with, do I want to have the strings kind of continue through in the next drop, but the texture of the next drop is already so nice, and I don't really need more layers. And again, strings are kind of a hard thing to work around, so I think I'm going to leave them as is there. The second thing we did here was in our second part of the second drop, where we're kind of pulling back a little bit in energy. I wanted to pull back, but I didn't want it to be boring. And previously we had added this sound to it. And I love that sound. It's so pretty, and it makes a really good kind of ear grabber right as we come out. But it's not enough to hold down for like 4 loops. I think we kind of need something else in there a little bit, just a little bit more interesting in there. And maybe still in this section we can still use like one more thing. But yeah, I'll play kind of like the first part of the second drop into the second part of the second drop. You can kind of hear I added this same sound, but up an octave, and kind of every other one, kind of a call and response. Tell me what you think of this. I have a cough drop now because my throat was feeling tired after today's show. But man, I love that. I think that is so pretty. I might, in the second half here, have it kind of fade a little bit into the back of the mix and have this vocal chop come back to the front to kind of just a little bit of difference there. But it's kind of a handoff in texture, not a brand new idea, because I don't want to be adding new ideas late into the piece. We need to have a reduction of new information as we're trailing out the end here. So putting up the octave I thought was a really a stroke of genius. And then I also did some more latch automation of just having me again play in how much I wanted it to send to the reverb bus I have. So I just mainly wanted it to send that na-da-da gesture and have that really ring out, but not have it just be sending all of this very high information into that high reverb bus. So I think, is there a way for me just to solo? That's what's being sent to the reverb bus there. So pretty cool use of that there. And I feel like the texture really worked out well. And then I kind of put these onto their own bus and then put a pan flow on top of it to have it just move around a little bit, so it's not just sitting there right in the middle being all boring. When it came to the vocal chop of this this drop section here, where I'm wanting the drops, where I'm kind of wanting this this sound to kind of be the more attention grabbing sound, but then I want it to kind of like hand off to the vocal chop a few times. The vocal chop we had yesterday was this. Which is fine, but not great. I really wanted it to be like a I just wanted it to be, I don't know, it was like a little bit more punctual and stuff like that. And so I tried making this vocal chop today. And I like the rhythmic value of that better, but it is also a little bit more, I tried a different part of the vocal, chopped up a different part of the vocal, and it came up, it was a little bit more the lower register. I think I needed to be a little bit more of a higher vocal for this effect to sell, but that was cool. That was all right. I don't hate that. So, but I probably won't keep it. I'll probably go on and do something else, and I would have stuck with it if I've had more time today, and made a good one. I really am so close to being done with this piece, but I'm glad I didn't figure that out, because it allowed me some time to figure out these other two things that I think, really this one over here I think is like such a good idea, that the piece would still be so much worse without. The string thing I think I need to keep tweaking a little bit more, maybe pull it further back in the mix, maybe pull out a little bit less of the mid frequencies. It's cool, I just don't want it to take away from the fun details. I think it maybe competes a little bit with this guy. I mean, how well do these go with each other? Yeah. It's like right there, it's just too loud there. I think if I just pull it down a little bit, like how I want it to swell up and not swell up that much. So I'll keep tweaking with it. That's all we had time for today, though. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow for more music. Goodbye.